All right, now let's look on the back side of the one-step equations, keeping in mind that our goal is still the same, that we're trying to find out the value of the variable. We're still going to use inverse operations, and we're still going to do the same operations to both sides. So still also going to draw a line at the equal sign to establish what's left side and what's right side. Now we move the number, we need to eliminate the number that is with the variable. And this time it is 11, and 11 is multiplying m, okay? So to eliminate 11 times m, we're going to divide by 11, and we divide by 11 on both sides. 11 divided by 11 is 1 m. Negative 33 divided by 11 is negative 3. 5a equals 7. I'm going to draw my line at the equal sign. 5 is the number that is with the variable. 5 is multiplying a. So to eliminate it, I use the inverse operation divide. Divide by 5 on both sides. 5a divided by 5 is a, single a, variable. And you can leave this as 7/5. You could evaluate that as a decimal and give me 1 4/10, or you could give me 1 2/5. All of those answers are correct. And those are equal, they're equivalent. Next, draw a line at the equal sign. And this one is one that is frequently missed because I have so many students that think this is subtract 2, and this is actually a multiply by negative 2. So to undo multiplying by a negative 2, I'm going to divide by negative 2. I can divide by the negative and the 2 at the same time. Okay, now negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a single 1. 1p is left. 20 divided by negative 2 is negative 10. Okay, so I'm going to put a star on here. This is a multiply by negative 2, so to get rid of it, we divide by negative 2. Next, I get a lot of students who get stuck on, I've got a fraction coefficient here. So these numbers that are to the left of the variable, and they're multiplying that variable, they're called coefficients. So if we have a negative coefficient, we divide by that negative coefficient. So I'm going to write that word for you. These are coefficients. So I want to show you have two options again to deal with fraction coefficients. This is a 3/4. I got cut off in the copying. So option 1, this is your first option, is you could divide by the same fraction. That's option 1. So 3/4 is multiplying the variable in, so my option is to divide by the exact same thing. And then you can use your calculator to decide, to determine 3/4 divided by 3/4 is 1, and I'm left with a single n there. And then 12 divided by 3/4 is 16. Now, dividing by one fraction is the same thing as multiply by the reciprocal, which is the multiplicative inverse. So the multiplicative inverse of 3/4, or the reciprocal of 3/4, is 4/3. Flip it on its head. So if I multiply both sides by 4/3, 3/4 times 4/3, that's a single n is left. And 12 times 4/3 is 16. So there's some options there on how to deal with fractional coefficients. Okay? Next, let's deal with these guys down here. These are all division symbols down here. So W divided by 12 is equal to negative 14. Again, we got to get rid of the number that is with the variable. The number that's with the variable is divide by 12. So if I multiply this side by 12, I must multiply this side by 12. You can use the dot or the star. So 12 times divided by 12. These two make 1. My single variable is left. And negative 14 times negative 12 is negative 168. Draw your line at the equal sign. The number that is with the variable is divide by 14. So to eliminate divide by 14, I'm going to multiply by 14. You can also use parentheses to show that you're multiplying. Where did it go? Okay. You can also use parentheses to show that you're multiplying. 7 times 14 is 98. And V divided by 14 times 14, that makes a single 1. And I have the variable is left. So 98 is equal to V. And then we've got this last one, this weirdo. And again, you've got a couple of options that you can use here. The first is we're dividing by the variable here. So that's a bit odd. We're used to dividing by a number, dividing the variable by a number. Now, if you know your facts, then it's easy. And if you don't know your facts, it's harder. So one of the things that you could do is if you didn't know the fact, you could say, I'm going to get rid of the A and multiply by A. And what that does for you is it makes it a more understandable equation. 6 times some number A equals 30. And then you're like, oh, well, obviously at this point, I know that if I divide both sides by 6, then I'm going to know that 5 is equal to this variable, A. So that's one way to deal with it. Another way to deal with it is you can actually swap the places of A and 6. Because it's like a fact family from way back in 3rd grade when you were learning your multiplication facts. So I could say, if I swap A and 6, 30 divided by 6 is what number? Well, that would be 5. And that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching.